believe there's a conflict in his focus, and it is all about focus. Is he working for Notre Dame? Is he working for the Patriots? There's a conflict there. It's difficult to serve two masters, and I know as a play caller, Charlie is brilliant. I study him. He does a great job. But, you know, he's going to be studying that tape with the clicker, leaning back in his chair, hour upon hour, getting ready for the game, and all of a sudden, he's going to go, oh, maybe I've got that booster to call. Oh, maybe I got someone at the front office to call. So there's going to be just that little bit of a distraction, which is going to take away from his focus on the New England Patriots. I think eventually it'll all work out, but I think it's going to be tough for a few weeks.
Charles, if any team could pull this off, it will be the New England Patriots. Not only is Charlie Weiss a genius, they have a lot of smart players on that football team, Tom. We've already talked about that. And also, guys, when you look at the Patriots, they won so many games. This could almost be added incentives. Charlie Weiss is on his way out. Let's try to win this last Super Bowl for him.
And I think we have to be clear. Number one, this does not mean that they will not win the Super Bowl. They could win the Super Bowl even with this happening to Charlie Weiss. But I think that I'll give you a great example. They played Cincinnati yesterday. They had a Monday morning meeting, 9 o'clock it starts, Coach Belichick in front of the team. They break up 5-10 minutes later. Guys go to their offensive, defensive meetings. You expect Charlie Weiss to be there. He was then being announced as the new head coach of Notre Dame. He wasn't there. He spent the day somewhere else. It's going to hurt him, I think, in terms of preparation, in terms of how you get prepared to play. You
and answering questions all week long. What do you think about Charlie Weiss going to Notre Dame, as opposed to me focusing on the Miami Dolphins?
Plus the Notre Dame alumnus, they can be pretty testy when they're paying you a couple $1 million a year.
Hey, the Super Bowl is February 6th. National Signing Day is February 2nd. It's the Wednesday before the Super Bowl. If the Patriots are where they think they're going to be in the Super Bowl, Charlie Weiss is a very interesting week.
That's right.
It's a very interesting week. Still ahead here on Monday Night Countdown. As long as you're breathing in the NFC, then you're still alive in the playoff hunt. Which players will ultimately affect who sneaks in for some January football? And when it comes to getting in the end zone, yesterday proved that a bus is better than a jet. Buckle up for the Sunday drive that kept Pittsburgh in the AFC driver's seat.
Welcome back to Monday Night Countdown, delivered by UPS.
Yesterday in Buffalo, the Cleveland Browns were due. Worst offensive performance in a quarter century, a grand total of 17 yards on offense, including minus 12 yards net passing. Now, in case you guys are keeping track, there were 142 plays from scrimmage in the NFL yesterday that went at least 17 yards. Let's talk about some good stuff. Before Sunday, only 4 men ever in this league rushed for 13,000 career yards. On Sunday, in one game, 2 other guys did it, Jerome Bettis and Curtis Martin. But since Bettis won, we picked the Steelers' jaws.
And I was there in the Berg yesterday, Stu, and it was a defensive struggle. But it was old-fashioned Steeler football. You know, they come out of that Fort Pitt tunnel, and they get after people. It's 3-3 in the third quarter. Now, what I like about this play, you get a good pre-snap read with Hines Ward coming in motion. T-Bucks comes across with him. Lets you know it's going to be man-to-man coverage, a good pre-snap indicator. Ben Roethlisberger reads it, sticks that foot in the ground, and delivers a perfect throw to Hines Ward. He goes for 26 yards. But look at the location of the throw. It's like real estate. Location, location, location. Right between the 8 and the 6. Move the chains for 26 yards. I like this one here. Ben drops back. He's looking left, playing a game with the defense. He's setting up the screen pass. Look at Hardings and Ross. They create a little seam for Deuce Staley to get out in the flat, and now you see Vincent make the key block, allowing Deuce Staley to run up the field for 21 screen yards. Outstanding job. Power football at its best right now. Dan Kreider on Eric Barton. Same foot, same shoulder. Steeler football, the bus hits it up inside. You got to see this one again, Tommy. Watch this linebacker, Eric Barton, and Dan Kreider nails him right in the hole. Now, Bus with the spin move, and I love this, running behind his pads, delivering the blow. Power football once again, a little cross block with Tooman and Ross. Now, hey, this is nicely done. Creates a little seam for Kreider to come up on Filma, and Bus hits it up for 4 yards, 2nd and 6. It's working to the right, power game to the left. You'll see Vincent and Kreider come back to the left side. The Bus hits it up inside, 3 more yards, sets up 3rd and 3. Hey, you know what? The running game's going. Let's stay with the run. Faneca, Kreider, hit it up inside. Give it to the Bus. Oh, no. Watch Jeremy Tooman. It's not the run. It's going to be Terry Bradshaw throwing. Oh, wait. Oh, that was Jerome Bettis hitting Jeremy Tooman for the touchdown. The Steelers took the lead there 10-3, went on to win 17-6. Jerome Bettis in his career, 3 touchdown passes. And congratulations to Bill Cowher, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They win the AFC North.
Is this a new toy with that little flashlight?
Oh, yeah,
sweet,
just give me a toy.
That's so sweet.
Hey, flashing players.
We all have monitors right here in our desk. We're all like, wow, that's really cool. As for Curtis Martin, probably the greatest, underrated running back in the history of the NFL.
Yes, absolutely.
He's from Pittsburgh, and he said about the thought of possibly going back to Pittsburgh to play him in the postseason, he said, I hate losing, but I do want to come back here because more than anything, I hate losing to the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Chris Mortensen rejoins us now with more news from around the NFL. Morton, Mike Tice's future as the Vikings head coach, already a topic of discussion before yesterday's decision to have Randy Moss throw a pass into the end zone in the final minutes. Is Tice on shaky ground now in Minnesota?
Well, he's on shaky ground. He's going to finish out the season. There's no question about that. But, man, there's so many things to talk about with this. You know, there's a lot of doom and gloom after the game yesterday. Moss, obviously, on that play call there where Moss throws the pass, it's intercepted. Moss came in, apologized, knew he should have run out of bounds. Scott Linehan, the offensive coordinator, devastated by that call. Tice trying to be the rock, the stone, as he says, for everybody. There are a lot of wives of coaches who went to bed crying last night, knowing that their husbands' jobs were in jeopardy. But what Mike Tice told his team today is, hey, if we win out, we control our destiny as the #1 wild card. Then he got a fax from the league office that said, no, if you win out, you are going to win the division because you beat a common opponent with Green Bay, the Tennessee Titans. Of course, the Packers lost to the Titans. So Tice, at least, is going to fight for his job. And, oh, by the way, Stu, there's a Christmas party tonight, and Red McCombs is hosting it, and Mike Tice and the staff is still invited.
All right. Mort, another coach perhaps on the way out, Dennis Erickson in San Francisco. What is the latest on Erickson's future with the Niners?
Erickson said today that he is going to stay with the 49ers through the end of the year. He did have a meeting with John York, the team president, and basically they just decided that, hey, they'll table this stuff to the end of the year. Then they'll talk about all the issues of his coaching staff, the issues of are the 49ers going to commit themselves to rebuilding this team financially by going out and getting free agents and doing everything right. And as far as University of Mississippi goes, which I reported that it emerged as a leading candidate there, Erickson denies that he was contacted by Ole Miss. I still have really dependable sources at Ole Miss says there was some contact, maybe not directly with Erickson, and they still feel he is a candidate there, although if he finishes out the year at San Francisco, they could go in another direction. All right, to a coach who already lost his job, Dave Wanstead. He seems to have moved on after leaving the Dolphins earlier this season. Could Wanstead be a head coach again next season in the NFL? Yeah, I think he can. As you know, Walt Harris went from the University of Pittsburgh to Stanford University. Dave Wanstead grew up in Pittsburgh, played at Pittsburgh, has been an assistant at the University of Pittsburgh. I think it's a strong feeling there that this could be Dave Wanstead's job if he wants it. But Dave is not sure yet that he's ready to jump back because he believes if he goes to college that that's a lifetime career type of decision. He's not sure he wants to leave the NFL or whether he wants to take a year off. So we'll wait and see on that one. All right, Mort, we appreciate it, man. More later from you on Eli Manning's nightmare so far with the Giants. 4 starts into his career. Still ahead, did the Giants make a big mistake handing the ball to Eli? And should they take it away from him now? We call it Open Mike Ditka against Irvin straight ahead. And a year ago, they were celebrating the NFC Championship. Who would have believed after a 1-7 start this year they might be doing that again? The Panthers believe. Find out why coming up.
Sunday Drive is brought to you by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It ain't Mike and the Mad Dog. It ain't Golick and Greenberg. It's the real deal football Mikes. Ditka, Irvin for Open Mike. Coach, we're going to start with you. Eli Manning. Oh, man. 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions in his 4 starts. Is it time to bench this kid?
I'm his biggest supporter, and I say yes for this reason. If you want to win any games, then you got to go back the other way with Kurt Warner. Now, if you want to just develop this guy for next year, try to get his confidence back. Right now, he has no confidence, but he's not making good decisions. I think you got to go the other way for the sake of the team because I think the team's saying, hey, you're selling us down the river because this guy can't play right now.
What the team needs to do is say, hey, we got a young guy. Let us all pitch in and make sure he gets some confidence. And how does he get his confidence back? By winning a few games, by everybody doing what they need to do, running the ball a little bit better. They need to start protecting him. Coach Coughlin needs to call some plays where he has some success. You bench him right now, you can ruin him. You put him on the bench after he has some kind of success, something he can feel good about himself about.
How did Ben Roethlisberger's success maybe force the Giants into making this move?
Well, I think it said to everybody, you know what? Maybe it's not impossible for a rookie to play well. Obviously, it's not impossible because we're watching how Ben Roethlisberger playing. And if he was drafted first and Ben was 11th, then maybe he could do the same thing. It's just not happening. Folks, this is how rookie quarterbacks play. I watched Troy Aikman go through this. We watched Peyton Manning. We watch all the great quarterbacks go through this. The only reason we're going to be extra hard on Eli is because of what Ben Roethlisberger is doing.
So you're telling me there's not a single player in that locker room who's grumbling to somebody?
He's wrong.
Yo, man,
I'm not saying they're not grumbling. They were grumbling when Kurt was playing, though.
Are they grumbling louder now?
Yep.
No, they were grumbling. You were losing then, you're losing now. How much louder can my grumbling be? Because I lost one game with Kurt. Now I lose with Eli. I'm going to grumble louder. It's crazy.
Michael, whether you're a rookie or you're a 10-year veteran, you've been traded for, he's got him in the end zone one time.
Right.
He's got him in the end zone one time.
How many touchdowns?
Now, Tiki Barber's not that bad.
The wide receivers.
How could Tiki Barber be running that good with the other guy playing quarterback? All of a sudden, his running
their wide receivers didn't have any touchdowns with Kurt Warner. Did we know this? Did we know this? Their wide receivers did not have any touchdowns when Kurt Warner was playing. So
no, they don't have good wide receivers. They
don't have a lot of good.
This we know. Kurt Warner did not have a QB rating in 4 starts of 31.4 like Eli did.
Right.
Kurt Warner did not have a QB rating like Eli did yesterday, like Blutarski's grade point average, 0.0.
Thank you, Stu.
And Kurt won't be there in 2 years like Eli will.
Well, thank you.
That's why we have to get him ready.
Maybe.
Mike, they're just going to keep talking.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Kind of ended up. You guys can go ahead.
Wrap.
Yeah, okay. Take it from me.
Tony Gonzalez leads the Chiefs, 67 catches, 5 touchdown catches, plus the ladies say Tony is fine. Ed Werder, real fine in Nashville, Tennessee.
Well, Stuart, with 2 years remaining on his contract, Dick Vermeil told me today that he intends to return to coach the Chiefs next season unless, quote, something unforeseen happens. He admitted to being mentally fatigued and disappointed, saying it's really hard when you expect it to be a playoff caliber team and you're sitting here with 4 wins. I just hope I'm not 100% to blame. For the second straight year, Vermeil is blaming a defense that simply surrenders too many big plays. He said, we get a lead, we give it all away in one play. Last year, he tried to keep his personnel and bring in a new defensive coordinator, Gunther Cunningham, from the Titans. He says the problem now, Stuart, is simply that they can't play the man-to-man schemes. They're getting beat, and so they either have to get defensive backs who can play that coverage, or they have to change the system. Tonight, they're without both their safeties, Jerome Woods and Greg Wesley, making it all the more difficult.
Thanks a lot, Ed. Someone on this set predicted at the beginning of last year the Panthers would go to the Super Bowl. Same someone predicted at the beginning of this year Panthers would go back. And when the Panthers were 1-7, that very same someone held steady, predicted the Panthers would run the table, finish 9-7, and that someone got laughed at, jeered, heckled by his friends and colleagues. An apology, guys. Right now would be nice. Tell you what, you guys can go ahead and wait for Rachel Nichols to tell you about the latest Carolina Panther flavor.
There is bad. And then there is how the Panthers looked at mid-season, with a 1-7 record and nearly as many players in the training room as on the field.
It just never stopped. You know, about the time we thought we had enough, a couple more guys would pop up. So, we've got 9 guys on our active roster right now that weren't even at camp with us. How you deal with adversity and prosperity kind of defines you. And so, we've fought through it. Guys kept swinging their sword, and, we've fought ourselves back into this thing.
The Panthers have done more than take swings. They've slashed their way to 5 wins in a row. Carolina is now trying to become the first team since the 1970 Bengals to endure a 6-game losing streak and still make the playoffs.
Winning breeds confidence, and once you get that monkey off your back as far as that losing streak, it just breeds confidence, and we have a confident football team right now.
It's always the team that's, got the momentum, that handles the injuries the best, and is the healthiest that goes into December that can make that run for the playoffs.
The real test of whether the Panthers are a playoff team could come on Saturday against Atlanta. The Panthers haven't beaten anybody with a winning record. Atlanta not only has that, it's won 8 of the last 9 times these teams have played. Still, if any team knows about busting streaks, it's the Panthers. Back to you, Stu.
Thanks, Rachel. Our producer, Rob Gujarro, says, by rule, 6 teams must make the playoffs in the NFC. Here's a wild card race with 3 weeks left. Vikings 1 game behind the Packers in the NFC North. Everybody else clinging to life with 3 weeks left. Now, 3 and out this week has to do with the wild card contenders, and which player on which wild card contending teams is key. Jaws, first down.
Carolina, it's got to be Jake Delhomme. I mean, Jake is mentally tough. You know, he struggled after losing Stephen Smith and Stephen Davis, but you know what? He's picked it up. In this 5-game winning streak, Carolina's averaging 29 points per game. His quarterback rating is just under 100. 60% complete, 9 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. He's managing the game very well and obviously finding Muhsin Muhammad.
Hey, thank you,
Michael,
Jaws.
second down.
That's a nice little lead to set me up. You're always going with the quarterback. Mike, you sure love those wide receivers. Yes, I do, folks. And I am talking about Muhsin Muhammad. He is the man. The last 5 games, he's averaged 6 receptions for 114 yards. That 5-game winning streak, put it on Muhsin's back, because he is taking this team. 7 TDs, 7 TDs the last 5 games, 11 TDs this season, second most in the NFC.
Mike, I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, we would rather have Randy Moss doing this, carrying the football, catching the football, running his routes, not throwing the football. That play qualified as do and do. That's right. But I'm not going to make that a firing offense for Mike Tyson. One of the better coaches in this league actually needs to be paid more like a legitimate head coach in this league and go out and get him some defensive help. This guy is a solid head coach in this league. He needs to be paid like
Tommy, hindsight is always 20/20.
Oh,
you look in Pittsburgh, they ran a gadget play. It ends up being a touchdown. It's a great call. It doesn't work in Minneapolis, and Mike's an idiot. That's wrong.
If that play had worked, great call.
That's right, great call.
Randy Moss, 40th career 100-yard receiving game in that game yesterday. Kind of brings to mind, though, another big memory, a Monday night memory, brought to you by IBM.
Third down, 10 seconds remaining in the half, trying to get into field goal range. And Johnson throws, and that is picked off at the 19-yard line by Samari Roll. And Roll into Redskin territory, picking up blockers inside the 30. Can he go all the way? He does! Unbelievable run back.
The AFC champion Titans rolled on to victory, their 7th in a row.
Monday Night Memories are brought to you by IBM, the official on-demand business consultants for the NFL.
Still ahead, what's on the mind of the man who may end up being the NFL Defensive Player of the Year? No need to Ed read his lips.
When I move, you move. Just like that.
Just listen up.
Here we go.
Will Aaron McNair ground himself after this season? The bruised and battered Titan QB tells Tom Jackson if it will really be 0-4 and out. 6'5", 250 pounds, and what? Picked on by a bully? It happened once upon a time. Find out how that experience inspired Big Tony Gonzalez to write a children's book. A record-breaking season, almost greatest season ever.
Touchdown!
Yes, Jaws proves why Peyton Manning is having the best year in NFL history.
Touchdown!
What's the time? It's time to get ill. The illest hits from a downright smash mouth Week 14. No sleep till TJ.
Wow, the NFL on ESPN marches towards the playoffs in Week 14 of this incredible season. It's an old-fashioned shootout when the high-powered offense of the Kansas City Chiefs take on Steve McNair and the Tennessee Titans. Chiefs-Titans live tonight on ESPN.
Well, they'll take it from inside the 10-yard line. The reserve wide receiver with the good block on the play by Patrick Mass. And on the run and chased on the play by Earl Little. He will take it the distance.
Comes off and Mesa, watch out. Here's your duck champ.
Wow.
And there's the Minister of Defense again.
You just had the birth of your first child. It wasn't.
Oh, look at that shot.
Vinny is looking for the 7 here, and it is caught and inbounds is Keyshawn Johnson. Touchdown, Dallas. Gonna give it to Jones. Through the middle, Julius Jones. Touchdown, Dallas. Big run.
ESPN Sport Legends presents Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was practically born with a golf club in his hand. His father, Earl, had a vision for his son from the beginning.
His father set out to construct the greatest golfer in the world and somehow seemed to do it.
He's the Beatles, Elvis, Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, in the entertainment sports world all wrapped into one.
I love when I'm playing good enough where the galleries are starting to run. That's a great feeling. I make a couple birdies in a row, get the momentum going, and you see the galleries picking up and just running to the next hole. That's when you get pretty fired up that, you know, here I come.
The guy has, at his age, has really grasped, you know, each subject, each part of golf. There's the technical side, the mental side, the physical side. And he's decided, I'm going to turn the volume up.
I get to talk like this for 2 games. Double coverage weekend on ESPN. 2 games in 2 days. Saturday night, 8:30. Panthers continue their playoff push against Michael Vick and the Falcons. Then Sunday, 8:30. Peyton Manning can break Dan Marino's single-season touchdown pass record against Ray Lewis and the Ravens. Ravens-Colts Sunday on ESPN. Panthers-Falcons Saturday on ESPN. Ed Reed on ESPN highlights all the time. Got his Raven franchise record 8th interception of the season yesterday. Surprised he didn't take that one back to the house. Where's he from, Michael?
He's from the U.
And he is in your house right now. See him, hear him, feel him. Wired for sound.
You gotta do it. Let's see what we made. Here we go. Here we go. We hunters. We hunters. Ah! Eyes, Mac. Y'all play the run, we got the pass. Make sure we stop them inside, though. Jam that middle.
Carter takes the snap, hands off Curtis Martin, left side. He's in for the touchdown, and the Jets lead the Ravens 14-0.
Let's go. We're a team. We're a team. Let's go. We got to get in the rhythm right now. We got to play our game. All right, when I move, you move. Just like that. All right.
Jets from the Ravens 17. Quincy Carter pitch out. Lamont Jordan looking to throw. Throws it downfield, and Ed Reed picks it off in the end zone.
Get out, get out, get out.
Now he's bringing it out.
Oh, dang it, Ed. Go in, go in, go in, go in.
Look out, he's at the 20. Ed Reed at the 30. He's going to go. He's got one Jet to beat. Will Debs throws a block. Penalty marker down. Going to call holding.
No! What? Unbelievable. On a play like that, how do you have time to hold?
2nd and goal. Bowler back to throw. He sets, looping, and caught. Up top, Clarence Moore. And we're underway in overtime. Tied at 17.
Come on. They won't win. Dog on the field. Let's go. Let's end this right now. Let's end this right now.
Ed Reed makes a big tackle.
Hey, let's go. Let's go get him all. Let's go get him all. Get him 7.
Ball just short of midfield on 3rd and about 5. Bowler back to throw. Throwing over the middle, and it's caught. Kevin Johnson has it.
Yeah!
Matt Stover trying to put his number on the board. Number 3. Spot down. Kick is up. Plenty of distance. It's good.
Best close in the business. Matt Stover.
And the Ravens win in overtime, 20-17.
Big ups, Ed Reed. Yo, in the NFC, everybody's still alive. AFC, different song. 3 teams already wrapped up the division. San Diego's close in the West. Basically, it's 3 teams for 2 wild card spots. Guys, how do you see it shaping up?
You know, the Jets' defense is really playing very well. Donnie Henderson, the defensive coordinator, has done a good job with the fit. The linemen, the linebackers, and the secondary all working in harmony, not guys trying to be heroes making individual plays. I was at that game yesterday, and I tell you, the defense can run. They can flat out fly. There's a lot of hats making tackles on that Jets defense. I think they could carry them deep in the playoffs if they can get some explosive plays from the offense.
Well, you know, guys, you know who I like? I like the team we just talked about.
Ravens?
The Ravens. I like the Baltimore.
Wonder why?
I like the Baltimore Ravens. Well, Ed Reed, all those guys from the youth. But take this. I like them because of Kyle Bowler. Look, you see this wide open guy? Kyle Bowler got his favorite target back, Todd Heap. And he said, I don't care who's on the football field. With Todd Heap, I can get the ball off.
I like the Denver Broncos.
Really?
Really? Oh, shocking.
Offensive line, running back, wide receiver, Rod Smith, one of the best in the league. You just have to get control of Jake the Snake. 9 interceptions in the last 3 games. I know that they won yesterday. I think that this team can be one of the best teams in football, one of those 1-loss, 2-loss football teams, except 9 interceptions over a 3-game period puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the football team.
You got to get control of Jake Plummer in more ways than one.
Here's the scary thing.
One.
This is as well as Jake has ever played.
I know.
That's the scary part.
What about what happened in the first quarter when he threw that pick and he was booed? He told the crowd he's #1. You just saw it there. They kind of squeegeed it out. You can't do that. Now, after the game, he apologized. He said it was the heat of the moment, and he said Denver has the best fans in the league. Still, though, as a quarterback, as the leader, Jaws, you know that.
You can't do it. I mean, hey, I've been in Philadelphia, 70,000 people booing. You hear it, you know what's going on, but there's nothing you can do except go out there and try to make a play. That's what you have to do. You can't win that battle.
That's right. That's your job.
Right. It'll probably hit Jake in his pocketbook. He'll probably have to pay a $5,000 fine. We bring back in Chris Mortensen to talk about quarterbacks. Mort, Eli Manning sure to be hearing a whole lot of interesting words from Giants fans this week when they host the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger. After yesterday's disaster in Baltimore, does Tom Coughlin now regret keeping Eli in the starting lineup?
Well, you know, he isn't giving any indication that he regrets it, but I have the feeling he may regret what, going back on what his original instinct was. When they were scouting Eli Manning and they were making a decision that they were going to do everything they could to go and get Eli Manning in the draft, Coughlin's instincts were to start him from the get-go, from the start of the season, which is what Peyton Manning believes you should do as he experienced in Indianapolis. Remember, Peyton threw 28 interceptions, and he said it was about game 10 or game 11 when things slowed down for him, then he got better. Throwing Eli in when Coughlin did at the toughest part of their schedule, when their defense was hurting, their offense has been hurting as well, I think that's been the damage that's been done. So right now they're sticking with Eli. I think they'll have a quicker hook this Sunday. And obviously, by the way, Tiki Barber of the Giants said when they put Eli in, we hope we're getting Roethlisberger, and now here is Ben Roethlisberger.
And he wasn't trying to diss Eli. When he said we hope we get Roethlisberger, he hoped that they get a guy who played like Roethlisberger.
Yeah, and what was so unfair about that, and Tiki wasn't thinking about that, what was so unfair about that is that, you know, Roethlisberger, his first 4 or 5 games were, I'm not saying cream puff games, but they were easier games, better offensive line, running game, better defense, just set up for Roethlisberger to have more success. Right now, I think it's totally set up for failure for Eli Manning.
All right, Eli Manning was the first pick in the draft in April. Will Heisman Trophy winner Matt Leinart be the first pick in next year's draft, Mort?
There's almost no question about that. The more personnel guys I talk to, Stu, say that if they had any doubts about Matt Leinart entering the season, their doubts are erased. And I think his season at Southern Cal, the fact that they clearly are grooming guys to play at the next level, he's big. Carson Palmer's success right now in Cincinnati is going to help him in the draft. And so here you have San Francisco, Miami sitting at the top of that draft. And maybe, by the way, the Cleveland Browns, only a game behind those 2 teams. Certainly, if Matt Leinart decides to come out, he's going to make a lot of money, and he most likely will be the first pick in this draft.
All right, Mort, thanks a lot. Back to you later with problems surrounding the Raiders and the Cowboys. Chiefs and Titans playing for real at 9 p.m. Eastern. They're playing on John Madden's 2005 simulation right here. Derek Blaylock, 9-yard touchdown. Chiefs up 7-zip. But Billy Volek to Derek Mason ties the game at 7. Fourth quarter, Trent Green, 12 yards away, looking for Tony Gonzalez. Touchdown. Chiefs up 21-20. Fourth quarter, Volek looking for the slot receiver mismatch. Drew Bennett caught 3 touchdowns in real life last week. Looks pretty good on the simulator. Titans win it 27-21. We now bring in John Madden from Nashville. John, why don't we ever see you in your video game simulated?
Because I can't move that quickly. It's been a long time. Did you notice how quick everything was going? Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
I gotta go boom, boom. I went from run to walk.
Boom, boom. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and talk about the game. John, what has been the biggest difference for these teams, the Chiefs and Titans, in going from contenders in 2003 to also-rans in 2004?
You know, I think you look at the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's easy. It's a cop-out just to say injuries. In the NFL, everyone gets injuries, and, you know, and the good teams play right through them. But the Kansas City Chiefs, if you look at them last year, they got a lot of turnovers, and they got a lot of kick returns from Dante Hall. This year, they still have a top offense. They still have a bad defense, but they haven't been getting the turnovers, and they haven't been getting the big plays in the kicking game. And I think on the Titans side, it's about Steve McNair. I mean, this is a quarterback league. And you look at the injury there, you lose your quarterback. A year ago, he was a co-MVP with Peyton Manning. You look what Peyton Manning is doing this year with the Colts, and this has been a tough and a bad year for Steve McNair, who won't play tonight.
Well, Patriots go from contender to contender again, but how does New England avoid letting the Charlie Weiss situation become a distraction right now?
You know, this is a tough one, and it's one that would be easy to talk about and say, well, it won't be a distraction. It will be a distraction. I went through this once as a coach, and I know, you know, exactly what it is, because you're really being pulled upon here. I mean, you know, Notre Dame is pulling. You're the new head coach, and you can't just say, I'm going to forget that for a couple of months. The Patriots are saying, hey, look, we're playing games. We have to get ready. You know, on one hand, you have to get a staff, you have to recruit, you have to do all those things. On the other hand, you have to figure out what you're going to do in that game. This is not a smooth thing, nor is it an easy thing for really either Charlie Weiss or for Bill Belichick.
If you ask Charlie Weiss, what is your priority right now, and you got to pick one priority, what do you think he'd say?
I think it depends on where he is. I think if he's up in South Bend, I think he says Notre Dame and getting the Notre Dame program back, and it's probably right there. And then if he's in New England and he's talking to Bill Belichick and coaching Tom Brady, I think he's saying that, you know, that right now I'm focused in on what we're doing here. But you can't be focused in on two things right now, right here, if you know what I mean.
So he is an offensive coordinator, he's a head coach, and he's a politician.
That's tough.
John, we appreciate the knowledge, man. We'll see you 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
Okay, Stuart, thanks.
All Madden, brought to you by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service.
Hear ye, Michael has informed me there are a couple of big surprise invites to the Playmakers Club this week. Who's in and who's about to leave Michael some angry voicemails? And today, Tony Gonzalez fears nothing as a kid. My man was scared of everything. What changed it all for the big Chiefs tight end and how he's now teaching bravery to kids?
When I was at my junior high graduation, I hid from my own family because I was so scared of this bully, and I thought he was going to beat me up. And I said to myself, I'll never run from anything again.
Welcome back to Monday Night Countdown, delivered by UPS.
Welcome back to Monday Night Countdown. Here in Nashville, one of the intriguing positions to watch with the Chiefs is running back. That's despite assurances from injured Priest Holmes that he's 100% certain he'll come back after his knee injury that has already ended his season. Tonight's starter is Derek Blaylock, who will be a free agent after this season and likely to play elsewhere next year. With so many defensive needs, Dick Vermeil told me today they can't pour money into 3 running backs, and they've already invested a first-round pick in Larry Johnson. And after his diaper controversy with Vermeil earlier in the season, Johnson has flashed ability. He had 124 yards rushing last week against the Raiders, and Vermeil said he left yards on the field. Stuart, his emphasis tonight, not getting overly excited like he was a week ago, and trying to be a more patient runner.
Basically, just kind of chill a little bit. We're not going to chill now. Hurry up offense, quick answers. No soliloquies, no thesis. 90 seconds on the clock. Survey says, Tom, start with you. Better 2005 season, Chiefs or Titans?
I think the Chiefs.
Next
I think the Chiefs. They've been very close.
Michael?
The blueprint is in the making.
All right,
You didn't even have to ask Josh.
Tom, will Eli Manning throw a touchdown pass this week?
No.
Michael?
Oh, I hope so.
This.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes, you.
No? All right, Jaws, we're going to start with you now. Will Peyton Manning throw 3?
Absolutely. Breaks the record Sunday night. ESPN game.
Yes.
Yes.
Because he calls his own plays. If I only have 2, I can throw him in one more in there.
Jaws, how many games will Charlie Weiss win next year?
7.
9.
8.
Ooh.
8.
All right, start with Michael now. Toughest guy you ever played against?
Wilbur Marshall, he had those big lips. He didn't put any Carmex on, and he was red-eyed, and he was dark in that uniform. I don't know how tough he was, but he was scary looking. That's what I'm saying.
He's crazy. Earl Campbell. He's crazy. He's sick.
Lawrence Taylor. I'm sorry, man.
Marshall, put some Carmex on. More important to the Steelers, Bettis or Staley? Michael?
Right now, Jerome Bettis. Because Deuce Staley's kind of hurt.
I agree. Bus.
Bettis. Deuce need to drop 10.
10 pounds.
Hurt.
Drop 10.
All right, Tom, we're going back to you. Most inconsistent team in the NFL?
Seattle.
I'll give you a different team, the Rams.
I'm going to go with Denver Broncos. They got the most inconsistent quarterback in the game. Thank you.
And the Rams got the most inconsistent.
Gentlemen, I would just like to congratulate you all for answering every question.
Yeah.
Except for Michael, I hope so. Chris Mortensen rejoins us now with some more league news. Mort, the 2004 Raiders cannot compete with the Raiders of the 70s on the field, so perhaps they wanted to do something similar off the field. What is the latest on the alleged Atlanta nightclub incident?
Well, you know, we went over this on Sunday, and basically the Raiders got into Atlanta early on Friday. Well, they got in there Friday night for a Sunday game. Club 112, a popular nightclub spot in Atlanta, has a website, had a Friday night event. 2004 Black and Platinum Millionaire Mixer hosted by Charles Woodson and Jerry Porter and Philip Buchanan and Napoleon Harris and Warren Sapp. Now, what happened is coaches caught wind of it. Norv Turner and them, they confront the players. The players said, oh, we didn't know about this thing. Bed check. They all make bed check at midnight. Who knows what happened after that? But I can tell you from talking to people with the Raiders that part of the problem is for Norv Turner is the same problem John Gruden had, the same problem Bill Callahan had. You try to discipline players, you try to find players, and it's going to get superseded, overruled by the man upstairs, Al Davis. Many times I was told players had been fined by the head coach, only never to have any money missing out of their paychecks. So I think that's a huge problem for Norv Turner, and it's always going to be a problem. Just doesn't work in this era, apparently.
All right, from the struggling Raiders to the struggling Cowboys. After yesterday's depressing loss to the Saints, is Bill Parcells still committed to starting Vinny Testaverde?
He is for this game because the Cowboys, Stu, and the NFC are still mathematically alive. But I think long-term now, one of the issues about Vinny Testaverde when Bill brought him in, when Parcells brought him in, I think was he is an older quarterback. Even though he's in really good physical shape for a 41 or 42-year-old guy, is he going to wear down as the season goes on? I think you see some signs of Vinny Testaverde wearing down. Now, the receivers aren't necessarily getting a lot of separation there, but the bottom line is I think in the offseason, depending on who's available in free agency, the Cowboys will bring another quarterback into the mix, not just Drew Henson and Vinny Testaverde. I don't know if that's through the draft. They have 2 #1 picks or through free agency, but I think they certainly consider it.
All right, tonight's game, Mort. There was a report last week that Jeff Fisher could be in trouble as the Titans head coach. Is Fisher really on the hot seat in Tennessee?
Interesting story from John McClain of the Houston Chronicle last week, but what I think happened over the weekend, Fisher got some extensions for assistant coaches. He wanted them badly, so any tension that was there appears to have disappeared, and Fisher will remain with the Tennessee Titans as far as I know.
All right, Mort, we appreciate the knowledge, man. We'll see you next week.
All right, Stu.
Hard to believe, but somewhere out there are 2 bullies who used to just terrorize Tony Gonzalez. Bullies, I mean, they bullied the guy when he was in 8th grade. He said it was the worst year of his life. Big bullies, high school kids, came down to Tony's junior high just to mess with him. Even scared him away from graduation day. 6'5", 250 now. Tony's like, yo, what at? What at? I'm kidding. He actually put his experiences to use, writing a children's book about his life Alex Flanagan found out more backstage.
That's my first car, and we had the beat-up VW Bug. This is me in high school football, my freshman year. Then I went on to college, I guess. College was great. I love Berkeley. Everybody from California probably has a pony picture, but mine's is me crying because I was a big baby when I was a kid, literally. Like, I was afraid of everything. I love looking back, and seeing where I've come from.
Why did you want to write a book?
This is geared towards, like, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders, and that's a crucial time in anybody's life. If it gives me a chance to go out there and give a good message to some kids, why not do it? And the proceeds go to charity, so.
What's it about?
It's about me growing up, I guess. There's a lot of pictures of me when I was a kid. The stuff I went through. I got bullied when I was a kid.
How surprised are kids to learn that you were bullied?
Everybody. I don't know if kids are more surprised or adults are more surprised, because it seems like mostly the adults are like, oh, I can't believe you got bullied. You wouldn't think a big old guy like me could have gotten bullied.
No, you wouldn't.
When I was a kid, but one of the occurrences that happened in my life was when I was at my junior high graduation. I hid from my own family because I was so scared of this bully, and I thought he was gonna beat me up. And so my family it was like out of a movie. I'm over there hiding behind a wall like this, and they come walking up, and I just looked around the corner, and I saw my whole family. And then my brother was looking at me, and I can remember mouthing the words like, "What are you doing?" And that stuck in my mind forever. That was a key moment for me. And I said to myself, I'll never run from anything again.
Now, are there favorite pictures in here or favorite stories that you have?
Right here. I didn't love my first taste of organized sports. I dreaded youth football. That talks about when I was playing Pop Warner football as a kid. I was like the worst kid on the team. Literally like the last on the bench. Like you pay $117 a year to play, and you're supposed to get at least 6 plays a game. At the very least, no matter how bad you are. I remember I wouldn't even get in the game. This picture right here is in Mexico. This last off-season in April, I went to Mexico trying to learn Spanish. Not too many Latin football players, so I felt it was important for me to go down there and learn Spanish.
Lavar is to wash. Lavarte.
What was it like?
At first, I was like, what the hell are you doing down here? Because I was scared. I mean, I went down there, and I didn't speak hardly any Spanish. I could say like, hola, and ¿cómo estás? That's it. Like, how are you? That's it. And I'm hungry. Tengo hambre. And where's the bathroom, too? Yeah, where's the bathroom? Donde está el baño? But besides that, I had no knowledge of the language. It taught me about who I am, Like, you really get to know yourself when you're down there. You're like in a world that you can't communicate with anybody. It was one of the best things I've ever done in my life, to experience the world.
We can't show you how to stop the Colts defense, but we can show you why no defense can. We're on the field to break down what Jaws says will go down as the best NFL offense ever. And the Hall of Fame inductee is ready to induct 5 new names into the Playmakers Club. Who'll be thanking Mike and who'll be giving him the cold shoulder next time they see him? All that's coming next. If you turn the channel, we will rip your cable out.
Wow, the NFL on ESPN marches towards the playoffs in Week 14 of this incredible season. It's an old-fashioned shootout when the high-powered offense of the Kansas City Chiefs take on Steve McNair and the Tennessee Titans. Chiefs-Titans live tonight on ESPN.
Our Visa Skycam shot, you got to wonder, hey, dog, remember when we were in Super Bowl 34? Vermeil says, yeah, man, I beat y'all. Fish says, yeah, I know. It's at 1 yard. Kevin Dyson at 1 yard. They look good in their outfits. I think Michael Irvin, though, looks a little bit better in his.
Yes, Stu, I'm beating them all when it comes to clothes. Now, let me tell you this. I found me another young receiver. Michael Clayton down in Tampa. Hey, Holmes, you're getting your ego on. Keep playing the way you're playing. Let's get to the tapes and talk about my playmakers. Number 5, this guy, last couple of weeks, people, 30 tackles. I can no longer ignore him. 30 tackles in 2 weeks. Donnie Edwards, he's been going off, making plays like this. Had 2 interceptions yesterday. Took this one back to the house for a touchdown. Hey, man, I know he's a defensive guy. Let me give him a little love. Number 4, as bad as the weather is in San Francisco, cold and foggy, they found a ray of sunlight in the desert with with Maurice Hicks. 34 carries, 139 yards. Look at this young boy. I'm giving you some new people here. Maurice Hicks, you are a playmaker. Number 3, I don't think this guy gets enough credit for what he is. LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. For all of those who are having problems mentioning his name, get it right, because this is definitely one of, if not the best player in the NFL. I don't need to yell his stats. He's just great. Number 2, back to last Monday night, Julius Jones. This boy had 198 yards. That's 6.6 a carry. 3 touchdowns. Bill Parcells, he will give this rookie a gift. Now, I want to talk about this guy right here, Darrell Jackson. Sunday morning, he lost his father. He could have stayed home with his family, but he left his family and went with his other family, the Seattle Seahawks, and he helped them win a football game. He had 10 receptions for 135 yards. Hey, Darrell, you're so much more than a playmaker, man. Our prayers go out to you. We send you our love. God bless.
We all second that one, Mike. Thanks a lot. Peyton Manning now just 2 touchdown passes away from tying Dan Marino's single-season record. Peyton would also like to duplicate what Marino did in '84, leading the Dolphins to the Super Bowl. Jaws, open up that playbook, kid. Show us what makes Peyton and the Colts offense work.
All right, Stu, you know, in studying the Colts, the one thing that jumps out at me is their static offense. They like to line up and play. You know, most teams in the NFL now have different personnel packages, formation variation, shifts, motion. What that does is sometimes confuse the quarterback because he has to read more on the move. With Peyton Manning, they like to line up, and then Peyton likes to attack. Each week, I have the privilege to break down Peyton Manning and that high-powered Colts offense. I watch in awe as Peyton continues to prove that he's the most dominant player at his position. But it's the little things that he does that I'm most impressed with. The Colts will run mirrored routes off play action. At the top of the screen, that's Reggie Wayne. When Manning comes off the play fake, he has immediate pressure in his face. Look at when Peyton throws this football. Wayne has yet to come out of his break, and the ball is already in flight. The ball was thrown with pinpoint accuracy and precise touch. But the key to this play was Peyton's awareness. He knew exactly where everyone was on the field. The pressure merely changed when he threw the ball and the nature of the throw itself. Peyton throws the ball earlier, but with just enough touch, giving Wayne a chance to make the play. This is last week against the Titans. Marvin Harrison will run a corner route at the top of the screen. Look at the anticipation of this throw.